What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am joined by Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
Infinitely awesome as always. How are you, sir?
I am doing incredible. Ready to jump in? What's up?
What a color at?
Look, this is a special presentation, so we got a special episode. So we had to do something special. So the color gone.
All my life I had to fight. What the hell is going on, man? Okay, so we special today. Okay,
We are special today.
We special every day.
I mean, that's what my mama told me.
Going on in here, man. It's yeah. It's okay. Here we go. I guess
we're going to get into
today.
exactly what this episode is about in just a minute. But if you didn't know, this is All Things Super, where every week we take a piece of superpowered TV, movie, and even trailers. We watch them, review them, we break them down, we react to them, and we answer the question, is it super?
Is it?
Is it?
Right now, it's looking kind of bland. Looking kind of WandaVision in here, man.
But if you like that, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, you can subscribe to All Things Super on all of your major podcast streaming services. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
Probably good fit. And we like reading the comments.
There you go. And we like reading the comments.
That is right there.
Got to that temperature?
Yeah. Temperature strong. So we're here.
We are here.
I think if they click the thumbnail, they kind of got an idea what they clicked on.
Yes.
Welcome. Werewolf by Night.
We are talking about the Marvel Studios special presentation, Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night. Right. There's no way we can go into this.
Special presentations I think we're getting this year.
There's no way we can go into this special presentation and talk about Werewolf by Night without hitting some kind of spoilers, because that's just what we do. So I'm going to give y'all 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 to go.
That is.
That is your official spoiler warning to let you know that if you haven't watched Marvel Studios Disney Werewolf by Night, you might want to back out of this now. We gave you warning because we're about to spoil it for you. But if you like us and you just want to see us go off about stuff that we watch, here we go. Spider.
Yes, sir.
We're looking at the old trope. MCU's going monsters. We've seen it with Moon Knight. He's the mummy. His bandages are kind of bandagey. He's not kind of like, well, he's not like that in the comics. He doesn't have a more mummy aesthetic.
He's not.
So I can understand that, hey, we're going to use Moon Knight as a mummy kind of, and I think it was deliberate, and that's fine. We're in the monster genre of the MCU. So we got Moon Knight, that's a mummy. We got Werewolf by Night, which is, it's in the name, so werewolf. How far are we going with these monsters, though? Because we got Blade coming, so that's vampires. We introduced Man-Thing in Werewolf by Night, so that's mystical, earthly kind of as well. We're expanding. It's a big expansion, and it's very bold to expand this far, this early in the game. Now, don't get me wrong, MCU knows what they're doing. Well, it's 10 years plus in the game, but at the same time, we're all over the place, man. Come on, there's a lot of stuff going on. We're still introducing characters. Do you know how it feels when you're watching a movie, right? And the cinematic universe is nothing but a movie itself. It's a continuation of a storyline onto another storyline. Mm-hmm. And you know, when you're watching a movie, and I think they did this successful with Endgame. No, it's actually Infinity War.
Okay.
When they were showing you where the heroes were, and you saw Scarlet Witch and Vision running because the Black Order was coming to get the stone out of Vision's forehead, right? So here's the Black Order. Boom, they're here, but we got the introduction again to Captain America. You see Captain America, you know Captain America travels with Falcon.
Right.
You seen Falcon fly in. Oh, who's else with him? The Black Widow's with him. Oh, so all three of them clicked up, and it was an introduction, but we still wasn't finished introducing cast because it wasn't until we went back to the Avengers compound, that's where Rhodey was. And then later on, we got to catch up with Ant-Man. Then we got to catch up with Clint. Then we got to catch up with Iron Man, and Doctor Strange was there. Spider-Man was there. All these guys had to have a reason to come together. Clearly, King is going to be that reason in phase 5 and 6 for all these Avengers to come together. Don't get it twisted. The MCU wants to make King bigger than Thanos. You can't go halfway. You got to go big or go home. So unless we're dividing these storylines up to a point that everyone has something to do, you might want to stop introducing characters, because we've seen with the Eternals that when you got too many characters and not enough to do with them, your movie is going to fall flat. We're not looking at another gazillion dollars at the box office, and we're not going to have an enjoyable memory of some of our favorite heroes and villains. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think they're going at a good pace introducing all these characters while all this story is going on?
I think it's one thing that I've mentioned before, in that the vision that Kevin Feige and the production team over at Marvel Studios has is something that's beyond what we can all comprehend right now. Like, we can theorize, we can hypothesize, we can, put our guesses out there as to where we think these stories are going to go, but ultimately we don't know exactly what they're going to do. We know the characters that they release or announce that they're going to introduce, but beyond that, we don't know exactly how the storylines are going to go. So I put it up to them that they understand what it is that they're doing and how they're going to wrap up this story. As far as,
I think that was a safe answer.
Well, I'm getting into what I think. As far as the pace that they're introducing new characters, I don't think that they're going too fast and introducing too many characters, because I feel like they have an idea of how they want to use them, and that's essentially what I was trying to say. Because I feel like we get Moon Knight, we get Miss Marvel, we got Monica Rambeau and WandaVision, we're getting Loki and Sylvie, we get Echo. So, and now we're reintroducing Daredevil, we're getting Kingpin come back. So She-Hulk as well. And so like you said, all of these characters, like you said, we're also going to have Blade. We're getting Dane Whitman.
There's some Ghost Rider in there somewhere, but Dane Whitman is already introduced.
Right.
The Eternals are still there. I'm sure they're going to have some part to play in the storyline. Star Fox just came with Pippin on the Eternals. Is it Pippin or is it Pippin? Pippin. That's what I wouldn't say.
Not pimping.
Well, he's pimping to me. I'm calling him little pimping. Okay, so we got all these characters, not to mention the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Nova Corps. And Nova has his introduction coming up. We got the Fantastic Four still in the wings. We salt and peppering, sprinkling mutants here, there, everywhere. It's a lot going on. That's all I'm saying.
It is. I don't think that they're all going to
be in the Avengers.
I don't think they're all going to come together and all in the same movie. Because, like you said, we got Secret Wars, we got the Avengers Kang Dynasty, we got we have Secret Invasion as well. So it's going to be a
think about the scrolls. Oh my god!
Right. I feel like it's going to be I feel like it's going to be a phased approach where you're going to have groups of characters appearing in some movies but not other movies, and for whatever creative reason that they're going to say why they're not there, because I mean they never even explain why Thor and Hulk weren't in Civil War. Well, I mean Hulk was off world, but Thor just didn't show up, you know.
Well, Thor was captured in a cage. That's why we met up with him. He was in the cage.
Well, I mean, how long was he in a cage? Because Civil War wasn't just a couple days.
Yeah, it was kind of a couple of days.
Well, I mean, you're talking about from them finding Bucky to chasing Bucky to the King of Wakanda dying and them getting put in custody, and because Zemo had this planned out almost since the end of Age of Ultron.
Are you calling Thor lazy? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not calling Thor lazy. What I'm saying, we don't know what else Thor was up to while
apparently
Civil
he was
War
trying to find himself, just like he was doing for Love and Thunder. He's trying to find himself because, you know, he's dealing with a lot of death and dismemberment and depression and getting tattoos on his back.
He did think Loki was dead. Well, he didn't get the I don't think he got the tattoos until after Endgame.
Either way, this dude. Anyway,
well, I know. I figure he didn't get the tattoos until after he got back in shape. Probably. I don't know.
That's a good point too.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But essentially, in the sense of we're introducing these characters. Now we have Jack.
Another one. A new one.
Yeah. And so we have Jack, we have Elsa Bloodstone, and now we also have Man-Thing that we've introduced into the MCU universe. And the director, Michael Giacchino, who is more famously known as a composer, he's composed different MCU properties, he's composed different Disney Pixar properties as well. Very well known, very high in demand composer right now. He's pretty much like
hard right now.
He's like the he's like the John Williams of our time right now. That's how much this guy is working on these major blockbuster movies. And so
clearly he's shifting because he's over here doing this thing.
Yeah, and this was his directorial debut.
Boom.
And so we have gotten in it was on record that he was saying that, you know, he understands the state of the MCU right now and everything that is sort of begging to be connected. Like every new MCU property that comes out, the general audience is saying, okay, well, how does this fit into the bigger story of the MCU? But he's saying with this being a special presentation, he didn't want to say, you know, oh, here's a cameo from this person, this is how it shows it's connected into the bigger universe. He wanted to have something that just kind of stands alone off on its own. And I kind of appreciate him for doing that, because it allowed me to watch it and not have to think about where is it fitting, where does this fit in with everything else? Because like I said, I feel like that's going to be answered in time. You know, it's going to come up at some point somewhere down the line in the future. And whenever that comes to pass, that'll come to pass. But for this moment in time, for this special presentation, we're just going to enjoy this story for what it is.
I'm good with that. I'm good with all of that. I understand standalone. Shang-Chi was a standalone. Ms. Marvel was a standalone. Moon Knight was a standalone.
Yeah, but then they brought in the cameos to connect it in some kind of way.
Well, anytime you can see Captain Marvel, I'm happy about it. So.
Of course.
I'm just saying, come on over here and power up. So I actually heard that she's not going to be in some things for a while. So they did an interview with Brie Larson and said that she wasn't in the next stuff that's coming out. So she's on ice. I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens in the Marvels. Yeah, after the Marvels, of course. Okay. So story-wise, I don't want to spoil anything for you guys.
Well, I mean, I feel like kind of in the main storylines in the comics, Captain Marvel isn't always around either. Because, of course, you know, she goes off-world, she does her thing, and then like they shown in Endgame, she just shows up when she shows up. So
It's called lazy writing. That's what that's called. That's not an exaggeration. That's late. So they don't know what to do with her because they don't want to depower her again. We all know, those who do know that Rogue and Captain Marvel have an entanglement. Not like
what you want to
that.
call it?
Well, they entangle, and Captain Marvel ends up on the losing side because she gets her power sucked out of her by Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rogue has the ability to fly, and it's pretty badass. That's all I'm saying. But the point of what I'm saying is they might not want to depower her at this point in time. Maybe that's what happened. I mean, that's what happened in the X-Men animated series.
Yeah, she was like trapped inside her own mind.
Yeah, she was out of there for a while. So they could be looking at the same thing, but I don't think so, because if I remember correctly, I think Brie Larson signed like a 9-picture deal.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure about it either. I could be talking out the side of my neck, but it sounds good. It sounds amazing. It sounds a lot like Werewolf by Night. Listen, I didn't want to interrupt you, but we got, what's his name?
Jack. I think his name was Jack.
Jack's coming in for the hunt. There's a hunt that goes on, was it once a year?
No, this was actually because the Bloodstone.
The Bloodstone died.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name, but it was real creepy that he puppeteered his corpse.
But
it's Halloween.
that was surprising, and also it was
disturbing.
like, if it was funny, it shouldn't have been funny, but it was funny. And it was, I don't know.
Tony Stark is the only one that can leave a message. So
that was a way different message than Tony Stark left.
Did make you appreciate Tony Stark's message that much more.
Probably so, yeah.
Animatronics and corpses.
It was very Crypt Keeper-esque.
This is true. It gave me very, very much Crypt Keeper vibes. It was disgusting.
It was disgusting.
And they were just sitting there listening to it. And I mean, think about it. That's Elsa's dad.
Yeah.
So she's sitting there thinking, like, I mean, don't get it twisted. She doesn't have that much love for him. You can tell by the conversation that she had. She broke away. And what's her name? The lady saying that,
Vanessa.
You are ashamed to the house.
Verusa, not Vanessa.
Shame.
But she was cold to Elsa. She was like, you speak too highly of yourself. Don't be mistaken. You were your father's greatest disappointment. Just put it out there. Just letting you know, because you think you're entitled to get the Bloodstone, don't think you could just walk in here, take it, and then leave. No, he was ashamed of you. He probably hated you. It's just like harsh. But even because Elsa, she was looking at when all of that was going, she just looked at it like she knows that he would do something like that. Like she knows, like that might have been the reason that she left, because she didn't want a part of all
this
of his.
Dude is dramatic.
his dramatics, his antics, his over exaggerations about stuff. Like that is so. She just looks at him like that is so him. Only he would do something like this.
This is crazy. So the Bloodstone makes the beast, the monster, because it was very specific to use monster.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the monster weaker, which we found out the monster is a man thing.
But it also makes him angry.
Man thing is
you shove anything into the skin of any living being, and it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna piss them off.
Duh. So they're hunting the man thing. I have no idea how they even caught the man thing, because the man thing, as you've seen in this episode, is a beast.
Right.
He has the power to just vaporize his opponent, and we saw it done twice. One to the dome and the other to the ribs. Neither one of those is something you want to order on the menu, unless you just like it extra crispy, because he burned the shit out of them. So how did he even catch him?
That is a good question. And then the thing about it is, when Jack runs into Man Thing, or as we know, his name is Ted, and his actual character's name is Ted. His name was Ted before he transformed into the Man Thing. But
Give him a
obviously
backstory.
they have a previous relationship, and Jack said that this is not the first time that he saved Ted. So this is not the first time that Ted has been captured. So how does Ted, as powerful as he is, keep allowing himself to get caught?
I think Ted has a drinking problem. He might be thotty. I can relate to him though. What I'm saying is, how you end up you're like one of the most powerful creatures we've seen in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, how you got caught again? But
it's a good question.
Man Thing was a scientist, if I remember correctly, who got doused with chemicals and ended up, I think, being thrown in the swamp. And he took on the powers of not just superhuman abilities, like involved with the environment or something. If you guys are confusing him with Swamp Thing, it's not the same. He's a different character in a different universe.
But you know how
I'm doing.
You know how Marvel and
doing
DC
good.
are.
Well, they were very competitive.
Yeah, but of course, just like with almost all things revolving Marvel, it was revolving behind the super soldier serum. He was a biochemist working on the super soldier serum in the Everglades of Florida, trying to replicate it, of course. And then so he injected into himself, and he ended up crashing into the swamp. But while he was in the swamp, he sort of encountered this mystical rift in the swamp that transformed him into Man Thing.
Not a good look.
No.
Not a good look. You're not going to the club looking like a Man Thing. You want to go in there with an Armani suit on. But at the same time, listen, Man Thing, it's a lot. It's another part of the bringing into the new fold. I don't understand how he got caught, but it's interesting that we have a new MacGuffin, which is the Bloodstone.
Right.
What can the Bloodstone do? It's the question that I'm wondering, because
so
we didn't see it do the whole
what
lot.
it looked like and what the way that they presented it was that Ulysses Bloodstone, who was the keeper of the Bloodstone, he was able to harness the power of the stone to not only become one of the most prolific monster hunters of recent history, but it also grants the wielder longevity, because when Elsa came in, Verussa was asking, why did you come back? What part of the Bloodstone do you want? Do you want the power? Oh, do you want the longevity? You want the ability to live a longer life? Because clearly it doesn't make you immortal because Ulysses died, but it does seem to, I guess, give you a longer lifespan. And so, but we also see that
and make your body supple enough to put animatronics in it. So there's that.
No, that's after he died. After he died, they were able to shove all of that stuff in there. But we also see that it repels monsters. So I guess that is the portion why it made Ulysses one of the most prolific monster hunters out there. But we see that there's a cast of characters that come in to join this hunt that Jack is a part of. And Verussa, as she's sort of introducing everybody, she doesn't introduce them by name, but she's walking by and she's talking about how many confirmed kills that they have. And so obviously
the killers the killers in the house,
they all have these numbers, basically like a body count. And so they've all been invited to participate in this game. Almost, it's basically a game of last man standing. Whoever's the person to survive, because they have to fight this monster. You defeat the monster, then you can get the Bloodstone, but also you have to compete against the other hunters as well. So they're out there trying to kill each other. And so
pretty much
we see Jack and Elsa confront each other first in the maze, because they're going out into this big old maze in the garden at the residence of Ulysses Bloodstone. And one of my favorite things about having a composer as a director is the use of sounds and the use of music throughout the throughout the movie. And one of the things
Right.
with them going into the maze, we see that they sort of like draw straws almost, but they draw like these little dice or whatever. So it shows that Jack is going into the maze first. But Jack goes in and he's being escorted by, for reasons I don't know why, but like we said, Ulysses is dramatic. So it's this tuba that's on fire, and
On
every time he
fire.
blows it, the flames just go and just go up, and so he's just blowing a note, and
I'm not gonna lie.
it's
That'd be a hot second line.
that would be
You have a hot second line, and down there in New Orleans, you get a buck jumping and light that tuba up.
But the thing about it is like it was like alluring on twofold, because it was visually captivating to see. Just, of course, it's black and white, it's dark, they're doing this in the middle of the night, and you just have this tuba and just walking down the path, and you can see this is the only thing that's illuminating their path as they're walking into the maze, and just every like 5 to 10 seconds he just blows another note. And so not only is it chilling because you drop out all the rest of the audio for everything else as they're going into, and just those low notes of the tuba, but it also, as Jack is walking around, he's basically looking, trying to figure out where the monster is. And we can see, and if you've listened to the show before, you know one thing that I always appreciate: a different nonverbal cues, like nonverbal looks. The you look at a person and see what their expression is on their face and how they're acting without saying anything. And we see
Yeah, that's
Jack,
called acting.
but we see Jack, and Jack is walking through the maze, but you can tell he's not on the hunt. Like, he's looking, but he's not looking to hunt something. The way he's walking around, he's looking like he's very cautious as to whatever he's looking for. And as we come to learn later on in the movie, but what it looks like, whatever he's looking for, he's trying not to startle it. And so we get that long one shot of following Jack through the maze, and then after just a little bit of time, we hear in the distance, we hear those horns, we hear that tuba again, and it's just like it's signifying you're not alone anymore. You may have been the first one to go in, but now someone else is entered. Like, it's like, you know,
Real
in a video
Hunger Game
game, a
vibes.
challenger, you know, a challenger has arrived.
Yeah.
And so, and the way that they blow the horn, you can see Jack's perspective, and you hear the horn, and then it cuts to see the next character or the next hunter coming in. Then it cuts back to Jack, and then it blows it again, and it cuts to the next hunter. And so you see the order that the rest of the hunters are coming into the maze. And so, but just being able to see, we see that Jack and Elsa run into each other first. And of course, like I said, Jack doesn't want to fight. Jack is not there to kill anybody. Jack's not even really in search of getting the bloodstone. He doesn't want the bloodstone. We find out that all he wants to do is help Ted. And so when he runs into Elsa, the first thing he says is that maybe you and I should just pass each other by. And Elsa's like, what? And he says again, maybe you and I should just pass each other by. And he's basically saying, I don't want to fight you, and you don't seem like you really want to fight me either. So
I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
so let's just, you know, we go our separate ways, then neither one of us has to worry about fighting. And as they're doing that, the Scotsman, he jumps out with his axe, tries to kill
Woo!
Elsa,
That-
and that's when we
that
get into
axe was
our
something, right?
first, yeah, that was something. That's when we get into our first like real action scene of the movie. And no lie, Elsa should be dead. Elsa should be dead because this Scotsman takes her by the
Why
head.
would you say something
Because-
like that?
He takes her head and bashes it into the side of a concrete block twice.
Yeah, I was like, this ain't the MCU your parents grew up on. This ain't the Disney that you used to know. This is Disney. You might as well add a couple of pluses to that.
I think if I had a problem with anything in this movie, it was that part of it, to where he literally like unless she has some type of abilities that we don't know about.
Hey man, this super soldier serum is getting out of control, man. It's all over the place. I mean, you don't know if Elsa got some on her clothes.
We don't. But I
Not in
mean,
the system, just on
she's
her
still
clothes.
she was injured later on in another fight with another one of the hunters. But this just like bashing, he like bow, bow, and then she just jumped back and just like moved her hair out of the way. And I'm expecting like to have blood, something on her forehead. Like she was just fine. I'm like, you should have a concussion. You should be some kind of dizzy at least.
Well, there's no color in it, like right now, so there's no there's no blood to be seen. It's just white ooze.
But yeah, no, I mean, she was fine after that. Which that's like the only kind of little gripe I had with that. I think that she should have had at least some type of injury from that.
It's the MCU.
What does that have to do with anything?
First of all, she's a bloodstone. Okay, I'm pretty sure she has a spell on her because we're in the realm of like spells and no sling rings, but spells and incantations, and that's what we're in the dark part of the MCU. Ever since Agatha got here, we're dealing with witches, we're dealing with sorcerers and wizards and goblins, demons. We've seen hell or their depiction of hell a few times now. They're trying to, it's like little drops. They're just trying to drop it in before they throw you in the deep end. Some call it foreshadowing,
so,
but hey.
Unless she has some type of superhuman abilities or some type of enchantment, some type of protection spell, something that was protecting her from being injured, and she still gets her leg cut.
Yeah, so she don't have that.
What I was saying is that
none of that you said.
What I was saying is that because Verussa said when she was introducing or telling everybody the rules of the hunt was that no weapons were allowed, only the weapons that are scattered around the grounds. So with that being said, if Elsa did have some type of protection spell or something on her, since we may be dealing with magic, does that also mean that the weapons that were scattered around the ground may have also had some type of mystical properties? So that's why the weapon was able to injure her, but not her having her head bashed against a concrete block.
That's a great question. I wish I could answer that. I think only Kevin himself can answer that one. Now, don't get me twisted. I know Elsa is a hero. She's not. She's not like. She's like a demon hunter in a sense, kind of like how Blade hunts vampires. She hunts the supernatural. So she got something going for her. It's not like she's just out here willy-nilly throwing her thigh out there looking for it to get cut. It shit happens though. I'm not sure what the details were. I want to get more into the Werewolf by Night overall and look at it as just like you said, a standalone property, because it is what it is, and even though it's not, we got to take it for what it is until it's not. That makes sense if you think about it.
Okay.
Well, if you don't think about it, then that's fine too. So we got Jake out here looking for his friend Ted, whose body keeps getting snatched up in these streets. You might need to go back to the swamp, dude. You keep getting snatched up. I think you got a drinking problem, honestly. So you're out there trying to save your friend, but you're amongst these humans and they don't know that you got a secret. I mean, Jack got the most kills out of everybody. Like, he downplays his kills, or you think he was lying? You think he was lying about the kills?
I don't think he was lying about the kills. So obviously, Verussa didn't know who he was. I think he snuck in portraying someone else, because he says that even when he's talking to the Scotsman, he's asking him, are any of these your handiwork? And he was like, well, no, I don't kill in the same sense that you all do. So, and then the thing about it is when she was listing off the kills, she was like 27 kills, 40 kills, 50 kills. When she got the Jack, she said 100 deaths. So Why the change in
Whoa.
terminology? Why the change in, what's the difference? Why the differentiation in the way you explained it? And especially if you don't know exactly who this person is. So first of all, who is Jack pretending to be in order to get him into this inner circle of monster hunters? And whoever this
question.
What's the better
How do you
question?
know that man thing was there?
That's also a good question. He had to investigate something, I guess, in order to figure out where he was.
Where these clues came from. I mean, if you're following Marsh, just that's a piece of moss there, marsh there. That's a piece
His
of moss there.
Piece of moss, his little mushroom.
Yeah, there's a little stick. Come on, man. What's going on here?
I don't know.
Okay, so let's just say this.
Mm-hmm.
He's a werewolf.
Right.
And clearly he has a heightened sense of smell because we've seen in the movie that he had to sniff and smell and remember Elsa so he didn't attack her.
Right.
And what is this bestiality scene that we've seen with the Werewolf by Night and Elsa with her paint on the
bestiality?
This guy's a werewolf. She touches his face all intimate, like, oh, you're the puppy that I never had. Come here, little fella. You hungry? You want something? You okay? You need a chew toy? This is a wolf. This is a wolf, man. This is a wolf man called Werewolf by Night. He's not looking for a chew toy. He's looking to chew on something and toy around. But Elsa, soft hand to the face. Those Black Widow Hulk vibes came immediately. And I'm like, is the sun getting low? Is that what's happening right now? Mm-hmm. No, not at all. Listen, I'm reserving comment to the end of the show.
I mean, I don't know.
Here we go.
I don't know. No, I'm just saying. I don't know.
Well, the truth comes out after the side.
It just, he basically says that, I'm smelling you so because I have to remember you, because deep somewhere in the subconscious of the mutated werewolf, Jack is still in there. Jack still retains his memories. He may not have direct control over them, but they're still there because of, like you said, his heightened sense of smell. He said it worked. She said, "Has this ever worked before?" He said once. So could that have been Ted? It could have been.
Oh my God!
We don't know who was the one person that it worked for.
Well, here's the problem with your special presentation, black and white nonsense. Okay, so we need backstory. Because it's a special presentation, we're not going to get anything. Okay, here we go. We talk about Disney and having these short seasons and episodes and things. Now the special presentation that they threw all of it in one. You're not getting anything after this until they decide to put Werewolf by Night in wherever they decide to put Werewolf by Night. Mm. Is it an origin story? Yes, it's an origin story. After the origin story.
It's not. Yes. It's not going into how he became a werewolf or how he got these abilities. I mean, everybody it's an introduction story, but it's not an origin story. Because it doesn't everybody who's in the movie is already established. It's not introducing, like Civil War was an introduction of Spider-Man into the MCU, but it wasn't an origin story. We already knew Spider-Man already had his powers. Even, Homecoming, that was his first, standalone movie in the MCU, but it wasn't an origin story.
He was doing Spider-Man stuff for how long? Because in Civil War, he says he's been doing like 6 months, 8 months, something like that.
Yeah, and so we don't know how long Jack has been a werewolf. We don't know how long Man-Thing has been around. Man-Thing has been around for at least quite some time because his face was on the wall or the totem of champions on Sakaar.
He keep getting caught. He just keep getting caught. I don't understand what's going on with this dude. He's like everywhere. It's like, are you just pissing people off in the streets? It's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna just hold on to him. What? What the hell? And you had the ability to burn anything down. As I'm trying to understand, I mean, he made him crispy.
Well, it's not burning anything. So his power is that he taps into the emotion of fear. So when a person, that's why when Jack told Elsa, he said, "Well, if you see him, just treat him like an old friend. Call him by his name." And so she was like, his name is, it's like Ted. And so you saw that he jumped out, he got the Scotsman, put his hand on his head. The Scotsman started screaming. Scotsman's afraid. And he just melts him down from the top down. And then so he turns to Elsa, and you see the rage in his eyes, even though it is in black and white. You see the rage in his eyes, and Elsa's like, Ted? And as soon as she says Ted, his visual expression just softens.
Right.
And I felt like the character design but no, I felt like the character design for that was just so great, and seeing exactly is just like the emotion behind this almost faceless creature that you could just see from the expressions of its eyes, that I'm not angry anymore because only
clearly
someone,
you know the safe word,
right? Exactly.
Clearly you know the safe word. You must know somebody I know.
Exactly. Only someone who is a friend would refer to me by Ted instead of seeing me and just screaming and running away. So, but yeah. So I mean, I don't know. All of these, like you said, all of these characters are already established, but we don't have any backstory on them. Excuse me. We don't know where they came from. We don't, other than just a little bit of exposition we got at the beginning talking about the Bloodstone. We don't know anything about any of the characters.
Are we gonna get origin stories? Sips tea.
I don't know. Isn't trying to get rid of these hiccups. I don't know, but I don't think we are. I don't think we
are either. I think this was your origin, and you might get a flashback in another piece of property. Here's the thing: as a company, they're not just going to be throwing out movies for everybody, and I understand that.
Yeah.
You're only throwing the movies out for your key, hard-hitting guys that you want that fan base behind, somebody to cheer for them in the rooting cheering section. More than likely, a lot of product placement and merch sales. That's just business. But you got some other side people that's going to be in these main stories as well. And they're going to say, hey, I know Elsa from Werewolf by Night. Hey, I know Jack from Werewolf by Night. Hey, I know Blade from You Better Know Blade. No Blade from everything. But the point is, when they team up, it's not so, well, who's that?
Right.
But here's the thing. The general public don't necessarily have
you're still going to get those questions.
So you're still going to get that.
Right.
And then you're going to get guys like us explaining to you who that is. And it's like, nerd.
Right. So it was the same thing with, Multiverse of Madness. If you didn't watch WandaVision, then you don't. If you've only watched the MCU movies, then the last time you saw Wanda and Vision, or the last time you saw Vision was in Infinity War. The last time you saw Wanda was at the end of Endgame. And basically she just came back, crumpled up Thanos.
Crazy.
Right. And so if you didn't watch any of the Disney Plus shows, then the next introduction you have into Wanda, now she's manipulating reality. She's got this book, and now she's trying to kill this kid to take her powers because she's trying to get to these kids. And so if you don't have any context for anything that's going on in between the middle of that, you're like, what the hell did I miss? Like, what happened?
Maybe that's the effect that they're going for, to make you subscribe to Disney. But the point of what I'm thinking about is, if you didn't see Vision in WandaVision, the next time you see him, you're going to be like, I thought this dude was dead.
Hey, why is he white?
Why is he Aryan white? What the hell is going on? He's not just white, he's Aryan white. Like,
he's almost
everything's white. This is my God. Then he can phase down. What the hell? Like, you're out of the loop. And I think that's going to be the same thing when we start to bring in Elsa, when we start to bring in Moon Knight, when we start to bring in Werewolf by Night. What other monster are we bringing in?
don't
We
know.
got
I don't know all of
vampires. We have
the other different
mummies.
monsters that they have out
We
there.
already introduced zombies. So what if
Yeah.
introduce zombies? So Frankenstein.
Is there a Frankenstein in the MCU?
I thought they were hinting at it when they showed the good doctor in his casket with the animatronics. I was like, he's looking kind of Frankenstein-ish
Oh,
because
well, yeah.
he was sewn up and he was
Yeah, they had
which is
like
horrible.
you could tell like his head had been removed and then replaced because it was like on a like I guess like a plate or whatever, just so it could like rotate and stuff
Well,
like that.
they probably did it in a cave with a box of scraps. There's the Invisible Man that they can do. They can do the Invisible Man. That's in the horror genre. I don't know how they do it.
And you also got the
And
Invisible Woman in the
also,
Fantastic Four. So,
well, there you go.
but here's my question: before we get too far removed from what we're talking about, and
That's
talk about
always what we do.
and talk about the end of Werewolf by Night. But do you think that the reason that phases 1, 2, and 3 were so successful as far as MCU movies go was because all we had were the MCU movies? And so if you wanted to know what was going on with these characters, you had to tune in to the next movie. And so now, because you have people who feel however they feel about Disney, so they may not want to describe the Disney exactly. That was perfect. It's not at the perfect time when I was saying Disney Plus. But they may not want to subscribe to it, so they're not watching all of these MCU shows. And so when the movies come out, do you think that it's getting to a point to where they're like, okay, well, obviously I'm missing out on too much. I'm standing firm that I'm not going to subscribe to Disney Plus and I'm not going to watch the shows. But now the movies aren't doing anything for me because I don't know all of this stuff that I'm missing in the middle. And so do you think that there will be a
That is
decline
a very
in viewership of the MCU movies because people don't want to keep up with the constant barrage of MCU shows that we have coming out?
that is a very real question. I think that is a very real conversation that investors at Marvel have with Kevin. And I think the very real answer is we don't give a shit. I think that's the very real answer and response. It's like who rocks with us will rock with us, and who doesn't rock with us, they
Right.
can stand on. They'll look for idiots like ourselves to fill them in on the blanks. But we can't. This is an unscripted show. It's just a great conversation, and I can't fill a blank in for you because I don't know how man think he's getting snatched up out these streets, getting captured all the time. Even if somebody run up on you, they gotta see you and be scared. You're like, got him, fire out my hand, burn them down.
They got their little electro sticks and they just and that's how they got him. I don't know. That's literally the only weapons that they had, but apparently it was enough for them to not only capture Man Thing, but to corner him to the point to where they could like stick the bloodstone on him.
I think he got a drinking problem, quite honestly.
They caught him when he was just hungover, knocked out in the gutter somewhere, and they're just like, oh.
It's a cocktail that he mixed in his super soldier serum in the system. He's always drunk. It's the opposite of Steve. Instead of can't get drunk, he's always drunk. You go stumbling into the. Oh my God! Hey! He looks like a keeper. Who the hell keeps capturing this dude?
Oh no.
Captured on Sakaar. He's captured again.
Yeah.
Jake said he had to save him again.
Yeah, he told him like, this is the last time I'm saving you. I'm tired of having to bail you out of jail, Ted.
Damn, dude, what's going on? It's like Breaking Bad. Oh man.
So they finally get captured. Ted, Jack and Elsa, they free Ted. And so Verussa is like, you're working together with this monster. Jack tries to pick up the bloodstone, but they blast him back. And that's how they find out that he has to be some kind of monster because the bloodstone repels monsters. They capture him. They put him in a cage. And like we were saying before, Elsa realizes that they're going to transform Jack, and so when Jack understands this, he's like, "I need to sniff you, and so
Yeah.
I can
How
remember you."
inappropriate is that?
And he really did it without asking for her permission at all. He just grabbed her
Boundaries,
arm
my
and
guy.
just started sniffing. She's like, "What are you doing?"
If he would have had an erection, I would have been like, Disney, what are we watching? What is going on here? He's like, I need to, whoa,
I have
slow
to
down,
remember you.
dude. You about to die. You ain't turning back.
He grabbed her wrist, he grabbed her head, he's sniffing in her hair, and
No consent at all. I guess it was a different time. Like right now.
Yeah. I mean, essentially it is. But so we finally get the transformation, and they did this sort of long take, zooming in on Elsa, where, and this is the scene that everybody saw in the trailer, if you watch the trailer for Werewolf by Night, where the Bloodstone is giving off like these flashing strobe lights because Verussa is sort of, enchanting Jack in order to make him transform. Because of course, werewolf lore, werewolves transform in the full moon. And this wasn't the full moon. Right. Jack said we had 5 nights until the full moon. Elsa said, "Well, don't you know the Bloodstone can make you transform in 5 seconds?" And so.
And you think that comes with being a werewolf, that you automatically know when the moon hit?
Probably.
Or you think there's probably guys you can feel it? Or you think they're like looking at the calendar like the 13th?
I think it might be a combination of both.
I'm gonna stay inside on the 13th.
You know how like with some people when they have like knee problems, they can feel like if it's raining, they can tell because their knees start to hurt. I think it might be something like that.
But you don't know your knee will hurt 5 days from now.
Like, I mean, he's a werewolf, so it's enhanced.
The 13th, that my gout go act up on the 13th. You think?
I mean, it's
trying to call you and I can't
feeling.
go out with y'all. My carpal tunnel will start clicking out on the 13th.
If you were a werewolf, you might be able to tell earlier.
I guess I'm just saying that's not a power that I'm putting on my resume. It's like I can tell when the moon is full. Who's that helping? Moon Knight? Who's that? If Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night not best friends, I don't know what's going on in this show.
I don't know.
Because they debuted together, right? Werewolf by Night debuted and Moon Knight.
I think Moon Knight was introduced in the Werewolf by Night comics, I think.
There you go.
But so we get this long take on Elsa's, this slow zoom on her expression, and I'm wondering like what was the actress like? What did she have to look at in order? Because obviously there was an actor portraying being transformed into a werewolf in front of her because they're flashing the strobe lights, and so it's projecting the shadow behind her. But we're not watching the transformation; we're staying on her reaction. So for her to hold that like scared, disgusted,
it's called acting.
No, I understand that. But I'm just you have to draw some kind of motivation, because if you are not a good actor, that comes off as over the top, or it just comes off as not the performance doesn't come off as good enough.
Are you trying to say she had more than a tennis ball to kind of fixate on?
I would think so, unless she's just that good to where she can look at that tennis ball and like just go to that place and just be terrified of it.
What if somebody's standing there with something obscene like mashed potatoes in a bowl and they're just stirring it just to get a reaction out of her?
Mashed potatoes in a bowl? How is mashed potatoes obscene?
It's black and white. It's okay. Just react to this. React to this. It's like, oh my God. There's a scene, I don't know where it's from, but it's all over the internet, when Civil War was dropping. Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans were having a conversation, and Elizabeth Olsen was in the background, and they were at a party, and they were saying something.
It was the donuts. It was
Yeah, and then she screamed afterwards. It's like, what? But it's funny now, but it's like you don't know what's gonna. Why did I go this way?
That's why it was so upsetting, because you stirred it overhanded like that instead of going like this.
It's Moon Knight. I mean, Black and White and Werewolf by Night. So things are opposite. I don't die. No,
just the frame of the shot was very reminiscent of the old time horror monster movies and everything. So it definitely, I don't know, I appreciated that shot, and I know that was probably one of the big shots.
Did you appreciate the slashes and the screams on the opening MCU intro?
I did. I thought it was different. It was very unexpected.
Whew, you need some of this. You got a lot of them hiccups going on. I haven't hiccup once.
I think I'm probably too much hot air.
Oh my God.
But we get to the climax of the movie. Jake transforms into the werewolf. He busts out of the cage. What
do you think about the transformation?
I thought I appreciate that they use practical makeup. I was very happy that it wasn't a CGI. Yeah, a CGI monster, because I feel like the fight scenes or the action scenes, because I can't even call them fight scenes, because everybody that Jake went up against, he just basically destroyed them. I mean, all of those guards didn't stand a chance. You didn't like the fight scenes?
Elsa Bloodstone fight scenes.
Elsa Bloodstone's fight scenes were brutal.
They're incredible.
Put the sword down on the ground. Put the sword on the ground. Put the dude neck on it, and just like
boom. Her fight scenes were incredible. I would rewatch that just to see her fight scenes.
Yeah,
they were incredible, and the fact that she took a guy's hand off. We're back to phase 1 in the MCU. We're cutting off hands. And as you can tell, she's like, this is nice. I'm going to keep this. There's no way in the world I don't think she's going to keep that crossbow that goes on your wrist. And believe it or not, I think she's going to hold on to that axe too. Why not?
At the end, we saw her sitting like she owned the place. So, I mean, it's essentially all hers at this point.
So your dad's dead, and his girlfriend or his ex-wife or his wife is dead too. So pretty much you kind of inherit.
This is all yours now, because who's going to tell you no?
I mean, the butler knew. He was like, "Hey, what you need?"
Right. He's like, "I'm only here to serve you," and she's like, "Okay, cool. Stop by cleaning all this shit up."
Yeah, pretty much. And she got the bloodstone. That's a homecoming like no other homecoming, Spider-Man.
And with the bloodstone returning back, then that means that all the color returned back. So since the color returned back, now we have color.
Now look at your little fancy self doing fancy things now. Look at that. Hello, world.
Like I'm a new man now.
And thought I was in Pleasantville, fading away. Goddamn.
Damn, that is a throwback. Oh, that is a throwback.
Hey, man. Same thing was going on in that world went on in this world. Because the bloodstone, like you said, brought color into the world. So now,
you didn't have to worry about a werewolf in Pleasantville.
Did we? Toby Maguire was coming off of that black suit, so
was that after the black suit?
Yeah. Or I could be wrong.
I don't remember. I don't know exactly what year it came out, but no, I mean, you might disagree, but I like the brutality of the werewolf fight scenes. I like that they didn't shy away from the brutality of it, because obviously it's a monster. The monster is unhinged. Nothing is going to stop him, which is why they were, afraid of it. But he just was basically ripping people to shreds. And we got that frame of them, in that room where you see the doors slowly going down. and you have the blood on the camera, the blood splatter on the camera, that's slowly pouring down, and these guards are just getting decimated. And there's that one guard who like fell because Jake as a werewolf just basically threw the guard into the room to where he clipped the other dude, and so he fell. And while the door is going down, it's like he's in the corner, and you know how it's like they always have the henchmen when there's a lot of them and they're fighting a single character, they're like waiting for their chance to go in and fight.
You don't all rush in at once. Patiently wait.
Right, you have to patiently wait your turn to get your patiently wait your turn to get your ass kicked. But the thing about it is, you see, this is a werewolf. This werewolf is destroying every single one of these other guards that you came in here with. This door is closing right here. You have the opportunity to get the fuck out, but you don't. You just literally
they didn't see
there.
Jordan Peele. You don't see Jordan Peele's movie, because I would have been like, nope. It's a werewolf. I'm out.
Yeah,
y'all don't pay me enough to deal with this. That's why I liked that in Iron Man 3. The guy was like, seriously, they don't pay me enough. They're like, so weird.
They're so weird.
I am out of here.
Like, I don't even want to be here. I don't know them. I answered one ad. I was just trying to make some money for my daughter's recital. She had eyes on these dance shoes, but you know what? It ain't even worth it. I'm gonna go work at Baskin Robbins with Scott Lang to pick up some extra money.
Not with Scott Lang. Baskin Robbins always knows.
That is true. Baskin Robbins always knows.
Werewolf by Night, the special presentation. Spider. Is it super? Are we looking at a super entry in the MCU, the special presentation? All a season combined into one itty-bitty show. One movie. One special movie. No origin story. Like you said, it's an introduction. Got some nice little fight scenes. We got some nice little situation going on we got a MacGuffin, some Bloodstone. We got a hunt, introduction of new characters, introduction of some lore, because we got a family, which is the Bloodstone family. We got some transitioning. We have the Bloodstone now. We got longevity. We got supernatural powers. We got potential franchise. But is it super?
I say yes, it is super. I liked it for what it was, and I didn't think it tried to be anything more than what it set out to be. Just this short, little, sweet stint into this new realm. Like you said, we're getting into monsters now, something that we hadn't really fully explored before. And so it's like, short, 55 minutes, more longer than an episode of any show, but way shorter than any MCU feature-length movie. And it got in, told its story, got out, and was done with it. And so outside of the other little things that kind of just didn't really make sense, I think that it was a nice, short, little encapsulated story. I liked it. I thought it was super. Mr. VIP Frank in Washington, what say you? Werewolf by Night. Super.
Y'all know me. I look for certain things in a piece of property that makes that property, appreciate and have a little escrow and, things of that nature. I would say it was good.
And I can understand that. I can understand that.
It was good. I'm not taking anything away from it. Listen, if you haven't seen Werewolf by Night by the Marvel Studios on Disney, go see it. It's worth watching. Yes, it goes in the same vein of some of the old monster movies. Makes me think about Morpheus. I'm dating myself. What's the guy that used to came on with Chopsley?
Morbius.
See? I'm not the only one. That just means you're intelligent. That's all. Not old. But
I think that was only a local thing, though.
Well, not anymore. You just
it wasn't Morbius. It was Morgus. Morgus the Magnificent. That's what it was.
There you go.
Yeah, so I think that was local to New Orleans. So if you don't know anything about Morgus the Magnificent, look it up.
Look it up. We do need an evil monster genius Dr. Morbius. He was Dr. Morbius, right?
Morgus.
That's what I would have said. So what I'm saying is, listen, I'm not taking anything away from it. Again, we talked about this multiple times. We got the introduction of monsters in the MCU, and that's fine. We got mummies, we got werewolves, we got vampires, we got all these things popping off in the MCU, and that's great. Is it the best introduction? I don't think it's the best one, but it's not to say that it's a bad one. It's just it was what it was. Would we have liked to see more backstory? At least I would have. At least for Elsa, or even Man Thing. But that's not to say that you won't get it later on. It's just to say that this is what it was now. Like Spider said, potential cash grab. If you're a fan of Werewolf by Night, you may be disappointed in what you saw because I don't know how true to the comics it is. But if you're not a fan of Werewolf by Night, I don't know how disappointed you are because I don't know how you like your werewolves. You might like them like, Twilight, big dog werewolves. Or you might like them like Underworld, which is, standing on 2 feet, running. I don't know. I like my werewolves like the werewolf. You know what I mean? Michael J. Fox, Teen Wolf. I like my werewolf surfing on top of trucks, playing basketball, you know what I'm saying? Growing out, being the coolest thing. That's how I like my werewolves, you know what I'm saying? And that's okay. Everybody likes their werewolves the way they like their werewolves. And this is a werewolf for Disney Plus and MCU. Is it super? I can't say it's super. I can't say it's super. I can say it's good. I can say it's worth watching. I can say I would watch it again, but I wouldn't say the Werewolf by Night was the reason that I would watch it again. I clearly like Elsa, and that's because I think there's more story there because she's a monster hunter versus Werewolf by Night. The werewolf didn't do it for me. He's a nice guy, and that's fine. He's Ted's friend, probably best friend. I mean, they're going to get sushi. He owes him sushi, so clearly there's a relationship there. We don't know why he owes him sushi. Why would you pick sushi over shawarma? But I can't make those decisions for you. I would have had tacos. Ant-Man shows you tacos is the way to go. Anyway. The point of what I'm saying is it didn't quite do it for me, but it was a piece of Marvel property. And you know me, I'm here because I'm a Marvel head, and we're going to review it because we said we would. And is it super? No, it's not. No, it's not. But it's worth watching. I'll watch it again. It's what would have made it super for me? I know, I heard the question. I can hear you in the comments. What would have made it super? More backstory. I know it's a special event, and
would you have liked to see it as a full length film?
I would have liked to seen it as a full length film. I would have liked to because Jake looked like he's good with being a vampire. He doesn't have a struggle with it. He's not, we don't know if this is something mystical that happened or magical that happened. I'm just saying, if you read the comics and you know the backstory, you're great. You're special. Congratulations. But as a general audience person, you want to know, well, how did he get these powers? In one of the coolest wolf movies ever, Teen Wolf, you've seen that Michael J. Fox inherited his powers because his dad was a wolf too. And he's like, why didn't you tell me we were wolves? And it just goes into great dynamic because, you have story there. And there's nothing wrong with what they did. I just wish they would have developed it a little more to give us a complete package of what we're getting. Quick little flashback about when Elsa left. Quick little how Werewolf by Night became a wolf. Or you could have said he became a wolf and he was out there running from the Super Soldier Serum and he ended up in the swamp. Show us how they met Ted and Jack. How did they meet and became friends? If you would have just showed us that introduction, a couple of events together, there's more story to tell. Yeah. And they had a lot of stuff to work with. Not to say they didn't work it, but they could have worked it a lot better. But again, good show. Taking nothing away from the team that put it together. It's worth watching. I would watch it again. I just don't think it's super.
That's fair. So there you have it, folks.
There you go.
But let us know in the comments below, what did you think about Werewolf by Night? What did you think about this
better in color, huh?
But leave us a comment. Remember, if you like the video, go ahead and click on the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. Again, if you want the audio version of the podcast, you can search for All Things Super on all of your major podcast streaming services. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
And we like reading the comments. Sometimes we read them with our mind, because I heard y'all. It's like, how are you going to make it super? Mr. VIP, how can it be super? I just told y'all. Rewind the thing.
And see, now you're taking away from the comments because you're answering the question before they could type the question. But now you got to leave. I
answered that question.
You got to leave another comment. If you were going to type in the comments, well, what would have made it super for you? Now that question has been answered. Now you got to leave another comment.
See, now you got a man thing drinking problem, because I answered that question already in the show. So
that's what I'm saying.
You're going to mess around and get caught. Waiting for Werewolf by Night to come and save you.
Might be waiting for a minute because we don't know where they're going next.
That's what we should do. We should put an APP out on all that's missing.
Jack and Ted.
Well, think about it. Sith just came back. She was gone for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Lady Sith was, and they just did not pay that off at all. It's like, oh.
They didn't. It's like she's back now, and now she's, and her arm's gone, and now you're training kids.
That don't sound like something that you want to put on your resume either.
But thank you all for joining us. We'll see you again in the next episode.
I ain't got no arm, but I could train your kid. No, you can't. You ain't got no arm. What happened to your arm? You gonna train my kid? Nah, that's a handicap.